Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Ram.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvanda Maravindanalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Ako Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Vikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam
Pure devotional service. God is not a saint with a great awe and reverence. By His grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my attaching eyes and fills my heart with the transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him, static prema in me. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character.
Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy,
the friend of the poor, the Lord and master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Yeah.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalava Bhakti Sadma.
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 Pando muy savadana mate. Pando muy savadana mate. Yahara prasade vai evavatori ajay. Yahara prasade vai evavatori ajay. Krishna prapti hoya hoite. Krishna prapti hoya hoite. Guru Mukha Parma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. Koriya Kya Arana Koriyo Maine Asha Arana Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Sakudan dilo de janme janme Prabhu se Sakudan dilo de janme janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita Prema Bhakti Aha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate Prema Bhakti Aha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate Tere Gaye Ahara Charita Tere Gaye Ahara Charita Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Divana Lokanath Lokera Divana Ha ha Prabhu Karo Doya Deo More Pada Jaya Ha ha Prabhu Karo Doya Deo More Pada Jaya Eveya Sushri Bhuvana Eveya Sushri Bhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prestaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radha Kalachandji Radhe Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhaja. Jaya Goranitai 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 Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
notes from last class. Oh. I'm getting a sneak peek.
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glory to Shri Prabhupada. Sorry, I wasn't the one to give class today, but I had to do some service. Hopefully you can accept this as is. Please forgive me for my offenses. I guess we can get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can recite together. Naranam namaskrityam naram jaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So, please accept this as this is for my own purification. So please accept everything as is and forgive me for my offenses. I'll do a quick recap of what we have gone through so far. So Shonaka Rishi is eagerness to hear about Lord Kapila. And then, so in this chapter, Devahuti questions Lord Kapila. First, she asks, please explain Purusha, the Jiva in the material world, and also Prakriti. So does anyone know what Purusha and Prakriti is? Would anyone like to? Yes, absolutely. Obviously, in this context, Devahuti was like the Purusha is like the Jiva in the material world, which is like the enjoyer, like the person that wants to enjoy the Prakriti. But yes, of course, the head Purusha, the main Purusha is ultimately the Supreme Lord Himself, who is the ultimate enjoyer. And basically, and so the Purusha in this material world is basically anyone who imitates the enjoyer, the supreme enjoyer, Krishna, and tries to exploit Prakriti. The intricacies in the material world of the relationship of Prakriti enjoyed and Purusha enjoyer is called samsara, or material entanglement. And so Lord Kapila answers this question speaking of Adhyatmika Yoga and its description. He starts off speaking about the pivotal role of the mind and symptoms of a liberated soul. And then he goes on saying that the only auspicious path is bhakti, which is attained by association of sadhus. And then he speaks on the characteristics and the activities of a sadhu. And he also mentions that the sadhus can also take us back to Godhead. And then he goes on speaking about the practice of jnana and yoga, about the practice of jnana and yoga is incomplete without bhakti. So he emphasizes on how important it is to have bhakti. And then so the next question devotee asks is, what kind of bhakti will help to easily attain you? And that's what we finished off yesterday. And so Lord Kapila speaks, and so we didn't finish, I think there was like that last verse, which is the verse we'll be discussing on today. And so in this, Lord Kapila explains that Jnana Yoga and its limbs and recommends, and it speaks on the Jnana Yoga and its limbs and recommends spontaneous bhakti, bhava. And then he goes on to speak about the characteristics of devotees in bhava. And then he speaks on the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, which we'll be discussing on. And then he finishes off saying that the greatest benefit is possible only by offering one's mind in pure bhakti to me, Krishna. So in verse 32, Lord Kapila says that bhakti performed without material desires, consisting of senses that serve the Supreme Lord as confirmed by the scriptures and Guru. And he says that the mind that is exclusively dedicated to the Lord on a spontaneous level, bhava, spontaneity. I've always questioned what is exactly a spontaneous devotional service. Does anyone want to answer that? That's actually one of my personal questions. So.
The inherent nature of the living entity when it is fully manifested without any material coverings.
It's nice. Thank you. Yes, that is spontaneous bhakti, that is spontaneous devotional service to instant, and that's what's really nice about spontaneous bhakti or spontaneous devotional service. It's if you're thinking of the person you love so much, you're constantly going to act in any way to serve that person, always. So if we're constantly in love with Krishna and always present with him, then we'll always think about ways to satisfy him and make him happy. And then Lord Kapila goes on speaking about how this is much more superior than to liberation. I was told that liberation is something that if we really felt liberation, we would want to be constantly being in liberation. I think, yes, Amarendra Prabhu spoke on this, about how liberation, we say, liberation, we don't want liberation. But liberation is something if we had liberation, we would think, I really like this. But then you wouldn't understand devotional service and the eternal liberation, that liberation where you don't get out of going back home, back to Godhead. Because this liberation that we may think that, this is really nice, it's all temporary at the end of the day. And then on 33, it speaks on such bhakti quickly destroys the subtle body just as the digestive fire consumes food. And then from 34 to 38, Lord Kapila speaks on the characteristics of a devotee in bhava. So in 34 he says that the pure devotee never desires impersonal liberation, always engages in the service of my lotus feet, glorify my activities in association of devotees. And in 35 he goes on saying that the pure devotee sees my attractive smiling face with red eyes. He sees my various benevolent transcendental forms and talks favorably with me. It's just someone who is in love is constantly doing these things. And 36, he says that bhakti gives liberation without separate endeavor, although not desiring it. Yes. So in bhakti, the pure devotee does not think about, I want liberation, I want this happiness. They think, how can I serve? And they just love without any causeless loving devotional service. And from that, liberation will come without a doubt. But a pure devotee never focuses on the aspect of the result. Just like Krishna says, do your duties, don't focus on the results at all. And then in 37 he says, Lord Kapila says that don't desire higher planets or even the kingdom of God, but they attain all benedictions even in this life, and I award them my own abode. So a pure devotee, they don't think about, like, oh, I want to go to the higher planets like Brahma Loka, all these different lokas. They think, or they don't even think like Lord Kapila says, they don't even think about the kingdom of God itself. They don't focus on, oh, this, like, I want to go back home, back to Godhead. This is it. But they attain it by Krishna's mercy, without a doubt. And so the main thing that Lord Kapila is pointing out is that devotional service, that constant devotional service, and focusing on, I want to serve, and being in that servitor mode. And then that brings us back to our verse for the day, which is, we can recite 38. You wanna? No, it's from 38. It's from 38. This is the verse. Yeah. So we can recite together. Which words is it? Oh, yes. Okay. Right. Nice. Okay, we can recite. Na karichin mat parasanta rupe nanshan. Nang shanti no me nimisole diheti. Yesham aham priya atma sutascha. Saka guru surido daivam ishtam. Na karichin mat parasanta rupe. Nakshanti no me nimishole diheti. Yesham aham priya atma sutascha. Sakha guru shurido daivam ishtam. Na karichin mat parasanta rupe. Nakshanti no me nimishole diheti. Yesham aham priya atma sutascha. Saka guru surido daivam ishtam. Anyone like to recite? Na karichin mat sarabhanta rupe. Nakshanti no me nimishole diheti. Yesham aham priya atma sutascha. Sakha guru surido daivam ishtam. Na karichin mat parasanta rupe. Nakshanti no me nimishole diheti. Yesham aham priya atma sutascha. Sakha Guru Surido Daivamishtam. Okay, we can do the translation, the sentence. Not, Karichit ever, Matpara, my devotees, Santa Rupe, O Mother, Nakshanti, will lose, no, not, me, my, Animisha, time, lady, destroys, Heti, weapon, Yesham, of whom, Aham, I, Priya, dear, Atma, self, Suta, son, Cha, and, Sakha, friend, Guru, preceptor, Shurida, benefactor, Daivam, deity, Ishtam, chosen. Translation. The Lord continued, my dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences, because the devotees accept me as their friend, their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity. They cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. So here, Lord Kapila is saying that they are not deprived of any opulence or affected by time because they accept the Lord as their lover, son, friend in the spiritual world. You want to scroll down? Would anyone like to read the purport? No?
It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that one may elevate himself to the higher planetary system, even up to Brahma Loka, by dint of pious activities. But when the effects of such pious activities are finished, one again comes back to this earth to begin a new life of activities. Thus, even though one is promoted to the higher planetary system for enjoyment and a long duration of life, still that is not permanent. It's not a permanent settlement. But as far as the devotees are concerned, their assets, the achievement of devotional service, and the consequent opulence of Vaikuntha, even on these planets, are never destroyed. In this verse, Kapiladev addresses his mother as Shantarupa, indicating that the opulences of devotees are fixed because devotees are eternally fixed in Vaikuntha atmosphere, which is called Santarupa, because it is in the mode of pure goodness, undisturbed by the mode of passions and ignorance. Once one is fixed in devotional service of the Lord, his position of transcendental service cannot be destroyed, and the pleasure and service simply increase unlimitedly. For the devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time. In the material world, the influence of time destroys everything. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time or of the demigods, because there are no demigods in the Vaikuntha planets. Here our activities are controlled by different demigods. Even if we move our hand and leg, the action is controlled by the demigods. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of the demigods or of time. Therefore, there is no question of destruction. When the time element is present, there is the certainty of destruction. But when there is no time element, past, present, or future, then everything is eternal. Therefore, this verse uses the words nan-nan-nan-shanti, indicating that the transcendental opulences will never be destroyed.
So here I really like the first, that's how Srila starts out. One may elevate himself to the higher planetary systems up to Brahma Loka by dint of pious activities. Then he speaks on how temporary it is. It's not something that they're constantly active and happy. Like, I mean, yes, imagine if you were in Brahmaloka, you'd be really, really happy, right? So it's that point of liberation that you get, but it's so temporary at the end of the day. It's not that constant, I'm, like with this, I'll be happy. It's because even in Brahmaloka, it's still, there's still time, and you're still dealing with demigods, and there is destruction. There is an end point to it. It's not an infinite, right? But then Sri Prabhupada speaks on how the eternal world, the going back home, back to Godhead, there's no influence of time, there's no demigods. Yes, demigods come by, but there's no basically no influence of time or demigods to control you, and no question of destruction, because there is no time. So there's no limit of, okay, this is how long I'm going to be here, and that's it, So there's always that fear within the mind that, okay, time is coming. At some point, something will happen. I won't be here. So yes, and then I think. So yes, but in the eternal world, there is, Sri Prabhupada at the end says that therefore this verse uses the word nanakshanti, indicating that the transcendental opulence will never be destroyed. Yes. But what's beautiful is, even being in this world, we can strive to be strive to also function in such a way that we're also in the spiritual realm, right? Just like as we're doing, having darshanarati, coming from mangalarati, and doing all these sorts of activities which are very, very otherworldly. To someone of this world, they won't understand this process. They will think, oh, this is just any other process. Or no, sorry, they will think this is something strange, something different, weird. But to us, because we're learning, we're practicing, we see that, this is something else. Because to that extent, through your services, you're also connecting with the Lord, And what other service out there that you can do that outside of this, like this, your spiritual activities that connect you with the Lord? Not very much. Not very much that you can do to connect with the Lord. But this devotional service, this bhakti, this bhav, that we keep within ourselves, that Krishna is the one that's in control, that Krishna is maintaining us. It's very otherworldly, and we have to really believe it. And in that way, we can constantly be with Krishna, and which makes us, being with Krishna is part of the spiritual world. And so we can still have it as it is in this world. Even though this world has time and demigods and destruction, we could still be otherworldly by being with Krishna, by thinking about Krishna all the time. Can we go to the next?
The reason for freedom from destruction is also described. The devotees accept the Supreme Lord as the most dear personality and reciprocate with Him in different relationships. They accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the dearmost friend, the dearmost relative, the dearmost son, the dearmost preceptor, the dearmost well-wisher, or the dearmost deity. The Lord is eternal. Therefore, any relationship in which we accept Him is also eternal. It is clearly confirmed herein that the relationships cannot be destroyed, and therefore the opulences of those relationships are never destroyed. Every living entity has the propensity to love someone. We can see that if someone has no object of love, he generally directs his love to a pet animal like a cat or a dog. Thus, the eternal propensity for love in all living entities is always searching for a place to reside. In this verse, we can learn that we can love the Supreme Personality of Godhead as our dearmost object, as a friend, as a son, as a preceptor, or as a well-wisher. And there will be no cheating and no end to such love. We shall eternally enjoy the relationship with the Supreme Lord in different aspects. A special feature of this verse is the acceptance of the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Preceptor. Bhagavad Gita was spoken directly by the Supreme Lord, and Arjuna accepted Krishna as Guru or spiritual master. Similarly, we should accept only Krishna as the supreme spiritual master.
Initially, when I read this, I was very intrigued by by when Srila Prabhupada said relationships cannot be destroyed. So instantly I thought, yes, of course, Krishna's, our eternal relationship with Krishna, it cannot be destroyed. But also, in general, relationship we cannot destroy. You know, if there's a father and a son, I can't say that, oh, that's like, that the father can't say that, oh, that's not my son. It's like, even though if he, however much he wants to think that that is not my son, ultimately that is his son, right? It's like, it's inevitable, that's given, it's part of the world. And the same way we have relationships like this where the mother, the father, the cousin, the brother, it's like you may have a distant relationship, but that's still your brother, that's still your sister, that's still someone that's close to you, right? And so just like that, you know, Prabhupada speaks on how Krishna's eternal relationship, you know, how, again, that is really emphasizing the fact that how otherworldly that is, eternal, right? We think that everything here is temporary, but we still have that thought that, oh, our relationship with Krishna is eternal. I mean, it's like if you go to your next life, you still have a relationship with Krishna. That's something else, something very profound from my understanding. And just like that, you know, Srila Prabhupada says that thus the eternal propensity of love in all living entities is always searching for a place to reside. We're always seeking a comfort zone somewhere. You know, if someone has a father they have their very good relationship, whoever they have a really good relationship with, we're always seeking that comfort, that place, that solace where we can go and just feel like this is me, this is who I am, and this person is accepting me as is. And that one friend that will accept you as is without a doubt, no matter what you do or how much you change in your life, it is Krishna himself. And that is the beauty of the Lord. And it says that we shall eternally enjoy the relationship with the Supreme Lord in different aspects. And in any way you want to worship him, Krishna is present. Any way you want to worship him, you know, he's present in that form for you. And everyone has a very unique relationship with Krishna. Everyone. There's not a single jiva that's like, oh, you know, this and this jiva are the same, they feel the same way. No, to some extent, yes, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a relationship with Krishna that's completely different from anyone else's. And just like that, Srila Prabhupada ends with saying that we should accept only Krishna as the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Spiritual Master. And the Spiritual Master is that one person that will love and care for you regardless and help you and guide you to that extent. And Krishna is always guiding us. It's just a matter of that vision. We have to have that vision, that spiritual vision, which makes us realize that, you know, and understand the different ways Krishna is acting for our happiness. And I personally like to believe that Krishna gives you everything and anything you desire. There's not a single desire that will go missed in your life, but it's just a matter of having that faith, that belief, that trust in him. And yes, we can go to the next.
Krishna, of course, means Krishna and his confidential devotees. Krishna is not alone. When we speak of Krishna, Krishna means Krishna in his name, in his form, in his qualities, in his abode, and in his associates. Krishna is never alone, for the devotees of Krishna are not impersonalists. For example, a king is always associated with his secretary, his commander, his servant, and so much paraphernalia. As soon as we accept Krishna and his associates as our preceptors, no ill effects can destroy our knowledge. In the material world, the knowledge which we acquire may change because of the influence of time. But nevertheless, the conclusions received from Bhagavad Gita, directly from the speeches of the Supreme Lord Krishna, can never change. There is no use of interpreting Bhagavad Gita. It is eternal.
Jai, yes. I really like Srila Prabhupada starting off with saying that Krishna, of course, means Krishna and his confidential devotees. we're also to some extent confidential to Krishna because because Krishna loves us in that very unique way, in that very touching, and he's present in his various ways for our happiness. And I really like how he says that Krishna in his form, in his qualities, in his abode, and in his associates. I would like to, I don't know how much of this is correct, but I'd like to think that we're also associates of Krishna because we're servants. Like Prabhupada says that just like a king is always associated with his secretary, his commander, his servant, so we're also Krishna's servant. And because we're his servants, we're always present with him. And he's also present within us as Paramatma, of course. And giving us that knowledge, that realization, everything, all this this knowledge that we have, it all comes from him, knowledge of remembrance, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And yes, we have to really understand that. We have to really understand that we're his associates. If we understand we're his associates, think of it, if we think of it like, okay, the president is here and I'm an associate of the president. I mean, how cool is that? How would you feel? How would you act? Would you act differently than you are already? And just like that, if we can constantly think of Krishna as our as we're associates of Krishna, then we will also act differently. We'll act to represent Krishna in such a way that he is pleased. And if he is pleased, without a doubt, everything in this world is pleased. It's just a matter of pleasing him. And when we can realize that pleasing Krishna pleases everything, pleases you completely, we can really come to that saying that Srila Prabhupada says that and his associates as our preceptors, no ill effects can destroy our knowledge. No ill effects. Nothing can destroy our knowledge. It's just having that firm faith. Sincere faith, of course. You can read the last paragraph.
Krishna, the Supreme Lord, should be accepted as one's best friend. He will never cheat. He will always give his friendly advice and friendly protection to the devotees. If Krishna is accepted as a son, he will never die. Here we have a very loving son or child, but the father and mother, or those who are affectionate towards him, always hope, may my son not die. But Krishna actually never will die. Therefore, those who accept Krishna or the Supreme Lord as their son will never be bereft of their son. In many instances, devotees have accepted the deity as son. In Bengal, there are many such instances, and even after the death of the devotee, the deity performs the Shraddha ceremony for the father. The relationship is never destroyed. People are accustomed to worship different forms of demigods, but in Bhagavad Gita, such a mentality is condemned. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different forms, such as Lakshmi Narayan, Sitaram, and Radha Krishna. Thus, one will never be cheated. By worshipping the demigods, one may elevate himself to the higher planets, but during the dissolution of the material world, the deity and the abode of the deity will be destroyed. But one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead is promoted to Vaikuntha planets, where there is no influence of time destruction or annihilation. The conclusion is that the time influence cannot act upon devotees who have accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as everything.
Yeah, amazing paragraph. So yes, here Srila Prabhupada says that we can worship Krishna in any way, and he'll always, the relationship with him will never be destroyed. It will never fade away. He will always act as you like him to. But for that you have to be a devotee, and he will follow your words. The relationship with Krishna is eternal without any duality or dependency. You don't have to depend on anything. And there's no duality. Krishna has no duality. He doesn't think that, like serving him, like, he's serving me, so like let me just give back to him a little bit and then take everything because I like to be served. No, he'll always be there for you, and however you may accept him. Like in Bhagavad Gita it says, "Ye yatamam prapadante." As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So it's just a matter of how you look at Krishna, how you appreciate Krishna, and he will reciprocate. He will reciprocate without a doubt. If you look at him as a son, he will take care of you just like a son would, as a son should. And if you look at him as your best friend, he'll have fun with you. He'll make you happy. He'll constantly be there with you. And so these are different ways, we can stay connected with him, and he's giving us that opportunity, right? If you can't, there's no opportunity like that with a demigod or anyone else. So you can't say, you can't go up to your best friend and be like, like from now on you're my father, you give me everything. No, but with Krishna it's like you desire, okay, I want you to be my best friend, he'll be your best friend. I want you to be my father, and he'll be your father. It's really, at the end of the day, how do we look at him and appreciate him, and he will reciprocate accordingly. And so we'll just I'll just try to summarize the rest from 39 to 44. Yes, so let me just read 39, 40. Is this it? Okay.
Thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, and anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death.
Yeah, with this, I want to mention the ISKCON. The ISKCON written, spoken, the knowledge given by the most important verses that Mahaprabhu speaks on. He says that na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani shware bhavatad bhaktirahaitu kitvahi. He says that I don't want any wealth, I don't want any birth. I'm not worried about wealth, I'm not worried about birth, and I don't want any opulence, any enjoyment. And he says that I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. He's not saying it, he says najanam, but yes, but he's not saying I don't want birth, but I want to serve you causelessly in devotional service, birth after birth. No matter where I am, who I'm with, where I'm going, I want to serve you. Whether it be in heaven, whether it be in hell, whether obviously in Goloka you're always serving Krishna, and wherever I am. So just like that, we're here in this material world, but we have the desire to serve Krishna. That is the understanding we need to have. So that's why Murgabila says that that's the devotee who worships me with the all-pervading Lord of the universe in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to be happy in this world. The devotee doesn't even care about happiness. He just cares about, I want to serve. I want to make you happy. I'm not worried about my happiness. Because the devotee knows that when Krishna is happy, everything else is happy. He's not concerned about happiness. He knows the ultimate way to get happiness. That is why the devotee has no fear of whether he's happy or not. And then he says, I take him to the other side of birth and death. So he knows, the devotee has unflinching faith, and I want to mention with this, I want to also mention that here Prabhupada also says in the purport that it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for him to be immediately transferred to the Lord's transcendental abode just after he leaves his body. The devotee doesn't even know what's his future and where he's headed to. He's not worried about any of that. He just wants to serve. And even in Nectar of Instruction, there's in Nectar of Instruction verse 3, it's said, does anyone know the 6 principles to the execution of pure devotional service?
Enthusiastic.
Okay, that's one. Enthusiastic. Patience.
Endeavoring with confidence.
Endeavoring with confidence.
Following the
Okay. 4. That's 5, yes. Yes, and that's 6. So in this, and the second thing that's mentioned in this verse is endeavoring with confidence, knowing that Krishna will be there, Krishna will save you, Krishna will take care of everything. We're so focused in this bodily platform that we think that, we're the controller. Because we're focused in this body platform, thinking we're the controller, we're always having some sort of fear. Because there's always a risk when you're the controller. When you're thinking you're the controller, there's a risk because you don't know for certain what your future is. But Krishna knows. Krishna knows your future. I've heard the saying that we think of our life in terms of our past. We think of our present in terms of our past. We act in our present in terms of our past, what we have seen in the past happen. But Krishna, he thinks of our present in terms of the future, because he knows the future very well. He knows exactly where you're going, where you're headed, and he's acting accordingly into your present life. That's the beauty of it. And yes, so as devotees, we have to endeavor with confidence, knowing that Krishna will take care. And so that brings us to the next verse, 41. I'll try to run through this real quick. Sorry.
The terrible fear of birth and death can never be forsaken by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself. For I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the Supreme Salt of all souls.
Yes. For by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself. So if you're seeking some other solace in something else, you're still dependent on everything but Krishna. But when we can depend ourselves and put ourselves in Krishna, then we'll be fearless. In other words, fear of material world cannot be overcome by any other means except by devotion to me as Lord Krishna, Rama, or Purusha avatars. And then 42, it says that only out of fear of me the wind blows, the sun shines, Indra pours rain, fire burns, and death flees all. And in 43, it said that my shelter for perfection, the yogis take shelter of my lotus feet by bhakti equipped with jnana and vairagya for highest perfection, which is the entering into the kingdom of Godhead without fear. And 44, it speaks on tivra bhakti, which is the greatest benefit can be achieved only by offering one's mind in intense bhakti to me. So devotee is very fearless, and as devotees we should be fearless because we have to understand that confidence in Krishna, being Krishna confident is such an important thing. If we can be Krishna confident, we'll always be fearless. We won't have to worry about anything. Just like Dhammakrishna Maharaj. And what's beauty is, in this confidence, it's humility. It's not confidence with ego, but with humility. Just like Dhammakrishna Maharaj asked Sri Prabhupada, what is What does it mean to be humble? Srila Prabhupada says that to be bold in Krishna's service, to do anything and everything in Krishna's service, if we can understand that with no duality, that, oh, I'm serving Krishna, so like I'm gonna find a way to make, like, for example, like there's so many devotees and you're just crossing ahead, oh, I just want to see Krishna. It's like you're serving your eyesight, you're not serving Krishna. But when it comes to, oh, there's so many services out there, and you're like the first person, and it's like, hey, I have to do this service, this is more important than anything else. That's having Krishna confidence that, yes, like this is what's important. And so just like this, I just want to end with a quick story. I know we are out of time. But the quick story is that basically, if you've heard about Govinda, which is a servant of Mahaprabhu, there's this one time Mahaprabhu was resting right next to the door. I'm sure you've all heard of this story. So Mahaprabhu was just taking rest right next to the door. And Govinda realizes that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to serve Mahaprabhu. So what he does is he crosses over Mahaprabhu to massage him, to serve him, right? And he does this for a very long time. And then he gets really hungry, but he doesn't do anything about it. So Mahaprabhu wakes up and he's like, hey, it's like lunchtime. Like, what? Like, are you not going to, eat? Or are you not hungry or anything? And so this is when, like, Govinda says that, I can cross over you to serve you. I can take any offenses to serve you, but I won't cross over you to serve myself. That I cannot do. And so that is another beauty of it. There's this verse, it says that Govinda mentally replied, my duty is to serve even if I have to commit offenses or go to hell. I would not mind committing hundreds and thousands of offenses for the service of the Lord, but I greatly fear committing even a glimpse of an offense for my own self. Thinking this way, Govinda kept silent. He did not reply to the Lord's inquiry. Yes, it's a very... It's one of a kind. It's very hard in this world to just feel that, oh, I will to avoid that whole understanding of avoiding Maya. But as devotees, if we can strive to lower our sense gratification, then we won't have that such deep interest to serve ourselves and rather focus on serving Krishna. And I guess I'll end there. If there's any questions. Realizations. Sorry for taking some extra time. I'm always wondering, Dushadumna always has a question. I don't know if it's to please.
I was kind of wondering, one of the themes of this class is like confidence and lack of fear, and so I'm kind of, I'm a little curious. One of the symptoms of living entities is that they eat, sleep, they mate, and they fear. Fear is kind of like a natural bodily response to things. Sometimes it's also like associated with like chemicals in your body. So I'm kind of wondering, like, sometimes I experience fear, or like you're walking alone at night, like you see someone like behind you or something. There's similarly with like embarrassment or things like that. There's like this fear that is still kind of present in your life, and I'm wondering, does that kind of like physical bodily fear go away as like we advance, or is it just kind of like something we accept as long as we have a body, that there will be like this fear? And also if there's a way to dovetail that, how to fix that.
It's a very wonderful question. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer, but I'll try my best to share something. Yes, just to vouch for the material worldly people, because I am a very material worldly people, that it's not that we have fear, it's we have a tendency to defend, right? But that tendency is because we have fear, right? Yes, and your question is that, does the fear go away, or can you repeat your question one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it was kind of a lot, but is this fear like always going to be there as a symptom of having a material body? Is that just like how as long as you have a body you have to eat, as long as you have a body do you also have to fear? And if that's the case, how do we dovetail that? How do we work through it?
I guess fear, I feel, is also a very important quality because if we don't fear, then we're thinking we're immortal, right? We're thinking, oh, I don't care about anything or anyone, I'm in control, I am the head, So I feel fear is an important thing that we need to have, at least when it comes to understanding that I have to be fearful that Maya can come and get me at any time, at any position, no matter where I am, who I'm with, that the possibility of Maya coming in our lives to distract us, it is there. I guess you're speaking of fear in terms of more of like a physical plane, or that fear of, like, let's say, passing or failing, or even something coming to haunt us, right? I think it's that fear. I want to say it goes away because we see so many wonderful sadhus that are so Krishna confident that they go on doing their activities with so much fearlessness, and I want to believe for sure that it gradually doesn't go away 100%, but it goes away to the extent that, like, because if we are Krishna confident, then our sadhana, it would be more, it would be less fearful, because sometimes, let's say, like you said, let's say we're chanting and then we're walking at night and chanting, and what if something just comes from behind, right? But when we're so focused in the name and that being Krishna confident, I feel like to some extent we don't have those kinds of thoughts, because ultimately it's those thoughts, right? There's always those thoughts lingering in. What if some serial killer comes in from behind, just ready to, like, stab you out? But I'll let the Bodhisattva or just Jared Prabhu, if you want to share. Sorry, I don't think I got anywhere with that.
Nicely answered by you. I would like to add. I was just thinking, just like if I'm sitting in a taxi or an Uber, right? That vehicle doesn't belong to me. I know that. So if I'm sitting in the vehicle, my fear is about attaining the destination, reaching the destination. As long as I reach the destination, I'm okay. So my fear is not about what happens to the vehicle, if there is any scratch or, what goes on inside the engine. I'm not concerned about that vehicle, because the consciousness is that that vehicle doesn't belong to me.
Yes.
The only fear is about whether or not I reach the destination. So the elevated souls, they do not identify themselves with the body which is compared to the vehicle. So they're not concerned about how the vehicle looks and what is happening. They're not fearful about the vehicle. They are only fearful about reaching the destination.
Yes. Jerry, please do. Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. You touched on a couple of points that stuck with me, and so that was really nice. And I think, at risk of somebody already saying this, I was thinking that just the difference between the fear, it's like the fear of the body versus how could you dovetail that, referring to Drisajuma Prabhu's question, would be like maybe to change the concept. Instead of fearing the body, we can have a fear of not completing our service, or something in relation to Krishna.
Chai. Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing. You're right. Thank you both of you. I'm very Krishna confident because you two are present. Everyone here present. Yes. Yes. Thank you for reminding me and connecting. As you mentioned, that the fear changes into, as you become more Krishna confident, the fear changes into understanding. That Jaya Prabhu said that that whether I'm doing my service properly, it's not even that, oh, you know, what it is, like Prabhu mentioned about the vehicle, you know, this is the vehicle, but as we gradually go into Krishna confidence, we become more into, am I doing my seva properly, rather than focusing on what's going on here. And just like that, I feel like the pure souls, the sadhus of this world, their fears change. Their fear is more into, how can I make this life successful? They don't even think about, let's say they're in a car. They don't focus on, oh, you know, because accidents are possible. Accidents can happen. But that they're not fearful of that. They're fearful of, how can I make sure that I'm advancing and I'm making sure everyone else is advancing with me. That their fear changes, right? So that is the beauty of it. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to mention is, I don't know, I'll just leave it at that. If I remember, I'll probably share it with you. But it's a very, very wonderful question. We'll end here. Thank you everyone for coming. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Tagore Premanande. Did something purification.
But in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen.
You can now donate real estate to benefit Relevant Radio. We accept any property type, land, residential, commercial, in any location, so long as there's equity. Perceived barriers such as back taxes, a mortgage balance, or deferred maintenance are no problem. All loans, liens, commissions owned, and closing costs will be paid off. Your asset for consideration at relevantradio.com/property. That's relevantradio.com/property. As our world faces more anxiety, our souls long for peace and refuge. Find refuge on the peaceful grounds where our Blessed Mother appeared to Adele in 1859. The National Shrine of Our Lady of Champion is the only approved Marian apparition site in the United States, offering year-round events and devotional opportunities for all pilgrims seeking spiritual help. Plan your trip today. ChampionShrine.org, proudly sponsoring great shrines across America. Carol Clark.
In the year 1264, Pope Urban issues a papal bull. So he's like, okay, there's going to be a feast of Corpus Christi for the entire church. And he explains in the papal bull, people don't believe that Jesus is present in the Eucharist. There's a lack of faith. And so we need to not just have this feast day, but we've got to worship Jesus in the Eucharist.
The Cale Clark Show, afternoons at 5 Central on Relevant Radio.
Program sponsor Christendom College is excited to invite listeners to join a free online principles class exploring the philosophy of art and beauty. Sign up and browse other free principles classes at getprinciples.com. That's getprinciples.com.
Compelling insights, unpredictable conversations, encouragement for your day. It's the Patrick Madrid Show on Relevant Radio.
Welcome back. The Patrick Madrid Show. Father Matthew Spencer sitting in for Patrick. Glad to be with you. Today you heard that number there, 888-914-9149 is the number to call and speak to young Thomas. And speak to Cyrus and to me. Happy to have you. Today I'm happy to celebrate, of course, the feast of Saint Cecilia. It's a blessing. Why do I love to celebrate the feast of Saint Cecilia? Of course, she's one of the first martyrs. She's, of course, mentioned prayer. She's a virgin and gives a beautiful example, of course, of complete dedication to the Lord. But maybe the reason I